now introduce you to the moderator and speakers for today. Mr. Prashant Deshmukh, Principal Architect Prashant Deshmukh and Associates, a ranker from JJ College of Architecture with an experience of over 40 years. He has designed and executed many industrial, commercial, and educational projects which have won him highest appreciation at national level. Mr. Prashant has received awards for his professional contribution on many projects. Mr. Deshmukh's papers in architecture, project management, professional practice have been published by leading newspapers and architectural magazines. Now our speakers, Dr. C. N. Srinivasan, Managing Director, C. R. Narayana Rao and Associates. Mr. Srinivasan is a Master's in Science in Structural Engineering from the University of Illinois and a Bachelor of Technology Honours from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. He is a life member of American Society of Civil Engineers and a member of Association of Consulting Engineers. Mr. Srinivasan has published many technical papers and discussions in Journal of the Institution of Engineers and Journal of the Structural Division Proceedings of the American Society of Civil Engineers and IBSE Reviewer for technical paper for ASCE, Journal of Structural Division. He is also recipient of ASCE citation for lifetime dedication to his profession. Up next, Mr. Mahendra Pingle, Deputy General Manager, Market Development, Tata BlueScope Steel. Mr. Mahendra has over 25 years of experience within the steel construction industry. He has worked in coil coating operations, sales and marketing functions. With Tata BlueScope Steel over 18 years, his main contribution has been introducing innovative technologies for enhanced steel product development, product assistance on selection of cladding material through specifiers community based on site location and building shapes. His focus all throughout his profession journey, he has been advocating positively the benefits of steel within the construction industry. Up next is Mr. L.A. Murthy, Managing Director, Ashray Design Consultants Private Limited. Mr. Murthy is a B Arc with over 30 years of experience. He is the Managing Director of Ashray Design Consultants Private Limited, which uses computational techniques to model and offers an evolutionary approach towards the creation of his form, structure, and organization in physical and virtual architecture. Requesting all the attendees to please participate in the poll and do write the name of the speaker whom you would like to address the question to during the Q&A session. Also do glance through our SSMB magazine. It's an interactive issue. The issue takes you through the cover story, which is a majestic structure that depicts the creativity of our Indian project team. So do have a look. To keep you hooked through the magazine, we have our special segments, Mind Bogglers, which brings to your screens a novel design idea, and Tales, which is sure to inspire you with yet another renowned structural consultant's journey. The link of which is available in the chat box. Over to you, Mr. Deshmukh. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, friends. I must at the outset congratulate the MX Media for coming up with this brilliant idea to have a webinar on the industrial structures and the development so far. The speakers today are really a galaxy of the experts from our country, which include Dr. Srinivasan, Mr. Pingle, and Mr. Murthy. So, a good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to you.
Friends, the industrial architecture and the industrial construction has really gone a big journey over the past, let's say, about 4 decades or so. You know, we had simple from regular northlight trusses that we used to see in industries, regular trusses which are now replaced by the portal frames and even advanced structures like the space frames. The AC sheets, which used to be a very common thing for roofing sheets, has been changed to the Galvalume, Zincalume, and also the sandwich panels. We have, from the conventional fabrication, we have now moved on to pre-engineered buildings with tremendous amount of workmanship that happens in the factory itself, and then the erection. We have the developments of the codes accordingly, and either they are national or international codes that we follow, uh, which are correlated uh, to of course the developments that happen as far as the construction is concerned. We also have now developed structures in industries which integrate with the services and utilities, which never used to happen in the past, and we actually provide in the structure itself the provision for running these services and utilities as such. Similarly, the rainwater downtakes is another concern, particularly in any industrial structure, which have also been developed very well by the architects and the structural engineers who are the basic designers of the projects. The skylights and the turbo ventilators are the additions of the day. And we really have some beautiful detailing of the skylights and the turbo ventilators. And we are also, toying up with some combo units based on that. And then, of course, we have also done, I believe, a lot of improvement in terms of the crane movements within the factory by providing the bracket, which becomes an inbuilt portion as far as the columns are concerned. So the need today, therefore, is the time and quality. The time required is going to be really squeezed and squeezed because I think most of the clients wanted yesterday. That is the situation of any industry that happens here in India. And they have no compromise to be done on quality. I remember that in the past, whenever they would talk about the quality part, we would say that isko jada time lagega, something like that. But now there is nobody wants to make a compromise on the time factor, and the quality factor. As you know, that the roofing and cladding are the things that have become the elements whereby you can create some beautiful, aesthetically beautiful structures and structurally sound also. So in brief, it is the faster construction that talks about the speed, the finer construction that talks about the quality, the fruitful construction that talks about the performance of the unit within. And although it was only used to be an envelope, it has now become an aesthetical element as well, and a challenge for the master planning as far as large scale industrial complexes are concerned. So I think this is a good beginning. It's a great evening today to have all these experts, and particularly Dr. C.N. Srinivasan, who has been the pioneer of getting into the large-scale industrial projects in our country. So very beautifully done. So over to you, Doctor, and you can take over from there.
Thank you, Prashant. You've been more than kind. I am grateful to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to touch upon some of my thoughts on green buildings, sustainable buildings, with particular reference to, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. With particular reference to warehousing operated logistics centers. The challenges and aspirations of the industry is that it will be capable of easy movement of heavy vehicles, isolation of spectrum of people using the facility, starting from truck drivers to multinational company clients, ease of handling the product with minimum labor and energy. On buildings, we have to look for large spans, uncluttered space, maximum rack area. They get paid by racks. Multiple occupancy possibility, flexibility, and minimum insurance cover to enhance the utilizable area. Minimum column size would be required, and to ensure round the clock, round the year operation, like the driveway of a multi-level car park, maintenance free and easy to upkeep is a paramount important. That would mean that there are no leaks, no overflow from the gutters, and no flooding of the floor, and generally no easy smooth floor for forklift movement, at the same time non-slippery. Fit and forget type of situation, fit and forget type of buildings is what needs to be aimed at. Speed of execution is something, as he correctly mentioned. Time, people used to say as a lip service, time is a cost. Now there is nothing but time. Now, where does that lead to the designers? As far as logistics operations are concerned, they are not very heavy suspended loads, not very heavy crane movement. The roof loads are pretty simply fixed, and the solar panels have become an order of the day. We have to counter, or we have to factor in limited steel sizes and grades. As far as costing is concerned, the steel work alone will cost, normally speaking, about 400 rupees a square feet, which costs about roughly 10% of the overall project cost. Out of this, the raw steel itself will take away more than 50%. To that, we need to add transportation, painting, and direction. Therefore, the elbow room available for the designer is extremely challenging. A penny saved, or how should I say, a penny saved is penny earned. That's the kind of economy that people are talking about. Therefore, what should be the focus of the designers? To go for a standard design, a situation where no one side fits all approach. I am going to touch upon a controversial subject at this point. I was mentioning this in the Chennai seminar about last year, or maybe a little longer. I don't know. We have lost time. We have lost count of time on this COVID business. Now, almost all warehouses are designed on the basis of MBMA standards. They do not follow the Indian standards. That would mean in terms of live load, in terms of wind load, in terms of the stresses, in terms of the serviceability limits. Therefore, and then those of you who have had time to see that bulky National Building Code document half of which is junk, and the other half is fit to be thrown in the dustbin. It has some very penal provisions. The penal provision says that anybody who does not follow National Building Code or who prompts others not to follow National Building Code are liable to be prosecuted, their license cancelled, and debarred for life. Now, this is a clause which is draconian nature and highly unenforceable. It's a meaningless threat. Therefore, the steel design fabrication manufacturers, end users should join a campaign to develop a special code applicable only to warehousing operation. I may say that over a decade back, Department of Science and Technology and Indian Standards Institution, or Bureau of Indian Standards as it's now called, we're trying to develop a code for heavy industrial structures. And correspondingly, we should apply for light industrial structures. This is, and as far as the education institutions and research institutions are concerned, we should address to develop some ready reckoner or typification of structures. Again, Department of Science and Technology and IITs brought out, IIT Madras particularly, brought out several handbooks of typification of industrial structures with crane, without crane, standardization, modular construction, and so on and so forth. To the fabricators, what it would mean is that they should mechanize, they should reduce dependence on labor, they should standardize simple connections, overall simplify the fabrication system so that at site not much of a high-grade technology is called for. To the entrepreneurs, we should address an attempt to enlarge the supplier base. For example, if you see Kerala, there are large number of small scale or small size operators fabricating PEV building and operating within a radius of about 100 kilometers, taking advantage of the waterway transportation available in Kerala and minimizing the transportation cost, and with direct contact with the site, they are able to achieve significant cost reduction, because transportation alone today costs something like 5,000 rupees a ton. On further thoughts, sheeting is a very important, roof sheeting is a very important component to give a leak-proof structure and ensure proper workmanship. Fixing arrangements should be maintenance-free, and gutter materials would have to have a long life. And interchangeability of the roof sheets is become quite an important part, and performance of this same in gale and cyclone is very important. We have to review the fixing arrangement, because particularly with a standing seam and long size sheets, we have found in the Varda cyclone in Chennai about 2-3 years back, the eaves end starts curling up and the whole sheet rolls up. On cladding, a simple cladding is going to contribute to the aesthetics. The colors, fastness of the colors, fit and forget situation, excellent workmanship, and ease of handling and fixing is of paramount importance. With the emphasis on green buildings and energy costs, any attempt to come with a situation where the solar heat absorption gets reduced is most welcome. Finally, there is a very important cost that is on fireproofing. Now, again, going back to National Building Code, National Building Code mandates that all buildings up to, I think, roughly 6 meters height have to be fireproofed. It would mean mainly columns. Now, I have my, except in particularly in warehousing operation, where the materials are stacked up to 8 meters and 9 meters. And even though all the racks come with rack sprinklers, the fireproofing of the columns mainly becomes a very important point. It has a cost implication, it has a time implication, it's a size implication. Because once you treat the fire steel work, except through painting, the sizes will slightly go up. Now, special attention needs to be paid to come out with a cost-effective fireproofing system. It is not a structure, but it is something which has a long-term low expense load on the customer in terms of repeated premium. It should critically answer the cost-benefit ratio. Lastly, rusting of steelwork, corrosion protection is particularly in coastal areas like Chennai, exposed to moist air and salt-laden atmosphere, becomes very difficult. The answer may lie in galvanizing. Now, galvanizing purlins have become a standard fit-out. So we will have to come out with some system where steelwork becomes relatively rust-free. Many years back, the British Steel developed some Cortan steel, which is basically allows a little bit of rusting, and the rust protects the further deterioration of painting. The National Corrosion Control have estimated that loss due to corrosion of steelwork runs into several lakh crores. I mean, if I'm very fond of using the finance minister's words. Therefore, one advice to our colleagues and our steel designer fraternity is that we have to stay on our toes. We have to keep ahead of times. And it is not, we have to come out with proactive solutions to the problems that the industry is facing. some of which is not entirely in our hands. Some of it is because of the atmosphere we are working. Some of it is because of the changing needs of the customer. And the life of the building is, on paper, it is at least 60 years. I have seen buildings that are stayed, steel buildings that are stayed in place, which is built by our organization in 1947, are doing wonderful work even today. I thank you for a patient hearing, and I'll be happy to answer to the best of my ability whatever questions that may crop up during the deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pingle, over to you.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Srinivas sir and Murthy sir and the team, Deshmukh sir and the SSMB team. And thanks for giving opportunity for us to present about the Tata BlueScope steel products, what we are now offering into the market, which are the innovative product for the green buildings, green and sustainable cladding for industrial structures. What Mr. Srinivasan, Dr. Srinivasan said about the requirement, the principal material for the building is the cladding material, which protect the steel, investment, what is there in the inside the factory. It has been taken care by the cladding materials. So cladding material has to be leak proof. It should withstand high wind pressure, and it should look good, aesthetically pleasing. And it should not have the fading within 5-6 years time. So that is what the people normally go for, the color coated steel. And that is what the aesthetics, whenever the owners are visiting the factories, they should look, they should see the buildings look fantastic every day or every years. And it has to be sustainable for that. So moving to the slide. So Tata BlueScope Steel is offering the durable product for the industrial structures or infrastructure structures, all sectors. So cladding is important part, which Tata BlueScope Steel has brought this technology with the joint venture between Tata Steel and the BlueScope Steel. BlueScope Steel, as you know, it is from Australia, and Tata Steel, we will all knows about Tata Steel. So both the steel companies are more than 100-year-old. And they have the very good reputation about the quality and about the innovations, and they always develop new technologies, how it is going to get the benefited to the end clients. So they are very, very big companies, and they are the leaders. BlueScope Steel, they are the leaders in coated steel technology in case of metallic coating or as a case of color coated steel product. So to have this focus, and the client should get right kind of product for their thing, for their buildings. So Tata BlueScope Steel has come up with this technology with the support from BlueScope. It's about the zinc aluminum steel technology and the color coating steel. As you know, this technology, galvalume technologies, belongs to BlueScope. And whatever the product we manufacture, we are selling this product in the market. The name of brand name is called Zinc Alum. Zinc Alum means zinc aluminum alloy coated steel, and color coated steel, we do color coating on top of it, which called color bond steel. So this is the state of art facility, which is there in the Jamshedpur. And we majorly our focus is on the project markets and typically in the construction industry. We are not there in the home appliances or any other type of application where majority of the color coated steel being used. So our expertise on the industrials, basically on the industrial projects on them, because this color coated steel is exposed to the weather and it has to withstand that different types of weathering conditions. So talking about that, we have the roll forming operation around India. So we'll not go into detail. So main plant is in Jamshedpur, which where we manufacture zinc aluminum steel and color bond steel. Normally you can see most of the PEB buildings, or typically in the projects, they go for zinc aluminum roof on top of it, on the top as a roofing material. And people prefer for color coated steel for wall cladding, which is to give a more aesthetics for it. So what is this zinc aluminum steel? This, as I said, it is invented by BlueScope, which is the BIC technology in 1976. And zinc aluminum steel has a differentiator. It is different than the galvalume, what is there offered in the market, or aluminum zinc color coated steel offered in the market. It has an anti-darkening property. So whenever you are using zinc aluminum steel on the roof, it doesn't have the darkening property. It looks, luster keeps longer time. And because of that luster property, you can get a more thermal reflectivity. And our zinc aluminum steel gives SRI value of 63. And speciality of our product is we can give the equal coating on top and bottom side, so that whatever the impact, the corrosive impact is coming generated during the process, or if it is some impact is coming outside. So equal coating is very, very packed with the warranty. So you will have a peace of mind, so that there won't be any problem. Whatever is going to happen in future, Tata BlueScope Steel is always there to support on that sort of things. So in case of color bond, as Mr. Srinivasan said about the color is very important part of it. So this product, what color bond is called, color coated zinc aluminum steel. It is bond steel, it is performing well. And since performance, and it is sustainable in the harsh environment as well. So it is having a zinc aluminum steel, and it is having a special type of paint system on top and bottom, which gives more durability and aesthetic for your buildings, whether this factory or shed or any type of projects, whether it is coming in the heavy industrial or whether it is coming on the coastal part of the belt. Adding to that, as I said, the performance, green building. Nowadays, the green building is more popular, and it has to be sustainable. So if it is green building, means you have to use less electricity. So if you want to use less electricity, then your roof sheet has to be more reflective. This solar reflectance has to be more. So whatever the product we are offering as a color bond, it has an excellent thermal reflectivity. It has a high SRI value if you compare with the other products. So we'll go into detail about that SRI value. So we'll get some more clarity on the green building and all these things. Again, color bond still is having the peace of mind, which is supported with the warranties. So as green building points, the CII, which is IGBC, who are certifying the products which are green product, which can be used for your sets. So in India, in color coated steel and metallic coated steel product, the zinc aluminum steel and color bond steel is been the first green certified product in India. And because of so many benefits, the points, we can say less, no lead content into that. It is environment friendly, low VOC, all these things. It gives, it's comply to the green requirement of it. Talking about the architectural, the metal cladding has to be take care of these, whatever the structures the architects are designing. You can see this type of structures. It has been built in Australia with very stiff bullnose type of curves, and the metal cladding is suitable, and it's a pre-painted steel. That's color bond steel. Whenever you are doing the curving or crimping, so there won't be any problems in the color performance or the crackings and anything. So it gives good performance in the flexibility. This is one of it which is not limited to institutional. It is be suitable for your infrastructure projects, stadiums, metros, railways, all sort of things. Nowadays the buildings, the PEB buildings are designed not only on the box structures. The architects are designing with the concave convex type of structures, and it provides the aesthetic for your structure by having the aesthetic curvature into that, which add the value to it. So as this is one of the points nowadays, the cyclones, the natural calamities are happening, and the wind speed is going to 200 plus kilometer per hour, and there are different types of different cyclones India is seeing nowadays. So in that cyclone, the metal cladding, as Sir said about, so it's blowing off sheets. So there is a requirement, the material which has to be inbuilt strength. It should be high strength, and it has to have the cladding material has to have the very strong. It has to be strong into that. That's why you can go with a high rip type of things, or locking type of profiles, or standing seam type of profiles. The profile has to be withstand that type of pressures, wind pressures. So you can have the purlin spacing according to that. So again, the impact resistance, that is a hailstorm. Whenever there is a cyclone comes, it comes with the hailstorm also. So material has to have that type of strength. And whatever the color bond steel what we are offering, it is sustainable, and it creates it's protect the investment whatever is there inside. So it is sustainable buildings by using the color bond steel. So other than that, this industrial sector, this is severe marine or industrial type of environment, or a heavy industrial sectors where fumes are generated, sulfur dioxide coming, different fumes are generated. Then in the coastal, where the high content of chlorides, the material has to withstand. Then we have the product called Color Bond Ultra, which take care of the severe environmental things over there, and gives a higher durability of the product. It has a special type of special treatment. It is given on the zinc aluminum steel, which is a high content of strontium chromate in the primer, and the paint is also specially designed to take care of high UV and all these things. Talking about the sustainability. So whenever, nowadays, so many buildings are built in more than 20 years or 30 years, 40 years. So the cladding has to be replaced. So nowadays people talk about replacing the existing roof with the new material. So you don't need to go for removing that existing sheets. You can go with the retrofitting. You can go for new sheets with the insulation or what sort of things on top of it. So you can protect your investment, or you can eliminate the tear off of your old roofing material, or we are able to reduce the amount of wastage going into the landfills. So this sort of things is very, very prominent nowadays. And color bond steel, which gives durability. It has excellent corrosion resistant and excellent color resistance, color fading resistance to that. So you talk about the aesthetics. We built this factory in 2006. Now the color bond steel, we have taken this photograph after 12 years. There won't be any problem in the color. So you can, we are assuring that the color bond, it gives excellent color retention over a period of time. And we talk about 20 years, 20, 25 years, but we give a warranty for 10 years for that. But not only limited to 10 years, the product can withstand more than that. So that is what the color bond talk about, the aesthetics. You will have the color performance for long time. Is this building is sustainable? Yeah, steel is there, but color coating is gone. So you can see after within 8 to 10 years, the blue color changed to white. So are we really building the good architectural or buildings? using right kind of steel? Yeah, this is a question actually. So the alternative to that is option to that is color bond steel is not having any problem over a period of time.
Excuse
So
me,
we talk,
Mr. Pingle, I think we are running short of time.
yeah, we'll finish in 5 minutes time, sir. Yeah, so this sustainability about the Thermatech technology, we talk about cool roofing. So you know the cool roofing, the SRI values, if it is low slope building, you have to have 78. And if it is steep slopes, SRI value has to have minimum 29. So color bond steel is complying with that. So the phenomena of cool roofing is higher reflective and higher emissivity of the product. You will get lower heat gain inside the building. So that's a white body, black body. This is actually the purpose behind it. So if you talk about color bond steel with other material, you can see the white color here with the surf mist and the ordinary color. Our SRI value is 87. Ordinary color of similar matching to that is 75. If you convert this SRI value into the temperature, roof sheet temperature, the color bond will have the 5-degree difference between the ordinary color with our white color. Similar with the beige color, which ordinary color, the temperature is more than the color bond steel. So this is what the Thermatech technology, it is there in the color bond steel, which gives about 5 to 6 degree difference, and you can have the 15% electricity saving. Because of the lower temperature sheet is getting, you will get lower thermal expansion and contraction. So once the lower thermal expansion and contraction, the roof sheet durability is very high. It can last more than what is the temperature. So talking about the green building, so you can see the energy efficient. What I talk about the higher SRI value. If you go for green certification, that will give 4 points, approximate 4 points. If you talk about material conservations, because our steel is 100% recyclable, provide long life, low maintenance. We are using the scrap during the manufacturing the steel. So whenever you complying with that, you will get 2 points, and color bond steel or zinc aluminum steel is complying to that. And talk about the water conservation and the environmental quality and occupational health. It's talking about 10 points, giving 10 points. So color bond steel doesn't have any lead pigments or any hazardous chemicals into that. It does not release pollutants. And since it is made at the factory at Jamshedpur, and your factory is built in the various locations, so your local air quality issue is not there. It is normally happens in the field painting, but in color bond steel it never happens. So it is a green star rating building, which is there in Australia, which is 6-star rating. So we got this surface. And talking about the end of the presentations, so Tata BlueScope Steel is always talk about BlueScope, or Tata Steel always talk about sustainability and innovations. What is meant by sustainability? So sustainability is talking about the social responsibility, environmental responsibility, and social economical responsibility. And all these 3 factors has to be balanced. To have the balanced performance, and that is what the product has to be developed. So if you talk about social part of it, so you can talk society is important part of it, product development, product responsibility is part of it, labor practices are part of it, human rights are a part of it. If you talk about environment, then there is energy, water, material, emission, influent waste, transport. This is all important part of it. If you talk about economics, so direct impact of these things, market presence and procurement practices, all these things come into the economics. So if you have all 3 factors are balanced, you will get your product is be sustainable. So it is talking about life cycle, get, make, use, and next. So if whatever product you get from the right source, you design it, you can use it, that building, and then you can recycle it. So that is what the get, make, use, and next. So, and that is what the Tata Steel, BlueScope Steel, and Tata BlueScope Steel is focusing on, and giving an importance to the sustainable and innovative product offerings for industrial buildings. So these are some of the factories with, you can see the beautiful logos, properties where Intrach has been supplied, the building is made. Then there is Omax Auto Limited, which is done by the Ashray Designs. There is a BSF, which is very fantastic building done by Ashwath Narayana Iswara in Chennai. So it is all talk of it. And IndoSpace, Mr. CRN architects and all these things, they are valuing the importance of the cladding materials. And all the architects are now known what is the importance of the cladding material in the buildings. So that's really nice of them. They are considering the right product for their buildings. And that's end of my presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pingle. Now, I think it was definitely a good presentation on the green. Let us move on to the presentation by Mr. Murthy. Murthy, will you please take over?
But Pingle, you need to stop sharing the screen.
Yeah, my screen is visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, fellow panelists and audience. I welcome you all to the SCS Technical Webinar Series organized by MX Media. Before I begin with my presentation, I would like to thank Mr. C.N. Srinivasan for sharing his expert insights on a warehousing project. I would like to thank MX Media, SSMB team, and supporting partner Tata BlueScope for providing us an opportunity to showcase one of our most prestigious projects. We have recently completed a fully automated long member project for Omax Autos Limited at Lucknow to fulfill the requirements of Tata Motors. This is the architect L.A. Murthy. I have done my bachelor's from Manit Bhopal and EPBM from IM Lucknow. I started my career with an esteemed steel building project for Maruti Udyog Limited, Gurugram, way back in 1991. Subsequently, I founded Archery Design Consultants Private Limited, popularly known as ADCPL, based in South Delhi. ADCPL was founded in 1991. As the managing director, I have been mentoring and guiding my team for the past 30 years. We have handled more than 400 industrial and warehousing projects on pan-India basis in the past 3 decades. Some of our prestigious clients include Omax Autos, JBM, JSW, Tata Motors, Hero Motors, Munjal, Sandhar, Kaporo, Kailash Vahan, DispoSafe, Mahesh Edible Oil, and MNCs like Suzuki, Yokohama, Daikin, Jiken, Bata, etc. Since we also have Tata BlueScope in this panel, we would like to candidly share that we are their sheeting's largest consumer in Northern India since 2006. Today, we are going to showcase one of our esteemed projects, Omax Autos Long Member Project. Omax Autos Limited is one of the reputed automotive component manufacturers in India. They decided to set up an exclusive, fully automated plant for Tata Motors manufacture long member for trucks and trailers. As per the internal process flow for setting up the entire manufacturing unit, the primary requirement was a 200-meter long shed in 2 bays of 30-meter width. That site is located on the Raebareli Highway, about 40 kilometers away from Lucknow Airport. The site area is about 9 acres and a built-up area of 1 lakh square feet is completed in phase 1. The second phase of 50,000 square feet is in progress. Our scope of works in this project includes architecture, structure, plumbing, firefighting, interior, vastu, landscaping, automation, green building, and project management. We assisted Omax Autos with various approvals. Now let's start with the architectural design part. We had associated with the Omax Autos right from the land acquisition phase based on their requirement and multiple land bank options with various constraints. We explored numerous conceptual schemes and finally we ensured the selection of an appropriate site location and then developed a schematic sketch considering all the relevant guidelines. The particular land parcel is located in between National Highway and railway lines. Prior to the start of the designing works, we prepare the design basis report. The sample is given here. We get the approval from all stakeholders so that everyone can be on the same page. And we follow the basic Vastu principles like entry to the plot from eastern side of the south zone. All water bodies are located in the northeast zone and the road slopes are towards the northeast. All utilities, STP, HSD are placed close to each other, are located in his southeast zone along with maintenance office. The admin block is placed in south side of the plot and the scrapyard is placed in the western part. The various blocks are made inside the plots are highlighted. The phase 1, phase 2 construction again we have highlighted there. The 200 meter by 62 meter main shed is placed centrally with adequate space for peripheral trailer movement. The toilets are kept outside the building line to keep the plumbing lines away from the building line and to avoid the wastage of space inside the high base shed. Visitors parking is near the main gate and car parking for senior staffs are nearby the admin block. Way bridge along the control room is ideally planned next to the main entrance for better control. Driver restroom is planned adjacent to the guard room so that drivers are in the vigilance of security guards at all the times. This is the aerial 3D view of the site showing all the blocks. Here one can see how the admin block is placed symmetrically at the junction of both the sheds. As per the client's vision, we have done landscaping throughout the site, right from the shading trees in parking areas to the aesthetic palms in the entrance avenue. We have also proposed an orchard in the rear side of the plot. Some more views. And parking area has been defined in the left side of the entrance. Way bridge and guard room are also visible in the view. This is the view of the administrative building. We have proposed to treat its elevation with large sized ceramic slabs, textured paint, high performance glass and vertical green wall. One can also observe that from safety perspective, we have given dedicated pathways and provided zebra crossings for pedestrian movement within the plot. Some more 3Ds. As a part of comprehensive designing, we designed admin block interior as well. We have designed a double height space in the reception to give a grand look and introduce some pleasant materials with good detailing. For canteen, we wanted to give a vibrant look, keeping the economy in mind. Therefore, we kept the ceiling and services exposed and introduced multicolored seating. We also planned green wall and printed vinyl wall coverings to enhance the ambience of this canteen. The WOMAX project team was very specific about the long trailer maneuvering within the plot, considering the narrow entry from the highway. The trailer circulation within the site is designed for unidirectional movement. Accordingly, the truck will have to take reverse only once for parking. This will help in minimizing hindrances and traffic snarls and ensure smooth flow of vehicles. We have used a simulation software to ensure the long trailer movement in various turns. This helps in optimizing the road width, turning radius, etc. A glimpse of its final output is shown here. An efficient vehicular movement within the site can certainly contribute towards sustainability. Before start the designing works, we should understand the complete material flow and the process. In bay 1, raw materials are stored and it is transferred through car coil from bay 1 to bay 2. Through the crane, it will be loaded onto the rolling mill. From rolling mill, the flow will be to the punching machines and plasma cutting machines that are planned in both the bays 1 and 2. Half of the materials from rolling mill will move to bay 1 and in straight line, and half will move to the transfer bay to the bay 2. The L-shaped building itself a complete one cycle. The future expansion will take care of the equal amount of the production in the second phase. By removing a column, a transfer of long members from bay 1 to bay 2 from rolling mill can happen to double the production. Similarly, the finished long members can be stored in bay 1 FG store. Some materials which are to be pointed which are to be painted in this plant itself will move to paint shop, and other will directly routed to Bay 1 FG area. For the transfer of the material from Bay 1 to Bay 2, we have to remove one column, and the OMAX, they required a 17-meter wide column free space. We have removed a column to attain the same. In following slides, we can explain in detail. This is the cross section of the building. The machines are about 5 to 6 meters with the transporters and floor mounted gantry for integrating one machine with the other. Considering this, the clear height requirement of the shed is 12 meters. Since the shed is made with a double ridge, the water drainage from center of the shed was challenging. We prefer that there are no pipelines below the shed floor. Hence, we have introduced suspended header pipe by making slits in columns at different levels. Considering the slope of the header pipe, the water from header pipe is drained in front and rear gable end. And these are some of the detailing, like taking the ramp inside the building so that the rainwater can be stopped getting into the shed where the sheds are having the with the dead slope. And again, one more detailing normally we follow, like plinth protection. Normally we find the cracks in the plinth protection. We prefer to go for a cantilevered plinth protection from the plinth beam, which takes care of that. And it's quite an economical option in most of the cases when we have to go for a 2-meter filling sites. And we have planned to keep the water line, gas line, firefighting pipeline, electrical cables all to run in between the cladding sheets and the steel column. This gives a clutter-free look to the shed interiors. Since past few years, building information modeling has influenced the AEC industry tremendously. By adapting to this technology, our team is able to develop the entire model in 3D and extract all the drawings from the 3D model itself. All the drawings are dynamically connected, and if there is any change in the plan, then the same is automatically updated in sections, elevations, etc. We have developed both main structure and building services on BIM and ran it on clash detection software to make sure that there are no clashes. We have also used BIM for preparing bill of material. BIM for sure had helped us a lot in this project. Now let's move on to the structural part of the presentation. Steel OMRFs are used along the width of the shed. Here, double pitched roof in the multiple spans worked out to be economical as compared to the common pitched roof for both spans. Flange braces are used to support the main frames in the lateral and torsional directions. Portal braces are provided at selected braced base below 7.5 meter level to accommodate the requirement of the rolling shutters at those locations. Steel OCBFs are used along the length of the shed. The location of braced bays are such that they effectively overcome the discontinuity in the structure due to the functional requirement. For bracing members, we have used tubeless sections and avoided rod sections as we have heavily loaded cranes and large spans which lead to higher peak drifts and lower energy dissipation if slender sections are used. As recommended by the soil consultants, we have designed the pile foundation with 400 mm dia under-unit piles 10-12 meter deep. That tentative tonnage breakup, it works out with such a heavy building of 4.5 kg per square feet. Let's now look into the sustainable design aspects of the project. The site planning is done such that we could retain the original topography of at least 25% of the plot area. In order to minimize the heat island effect, we have planted more shade-giving trees, covered the open area as much as possible. The roadside and parkings are covered with shade-giving trees. Apart from this, we have considered white paint on admin building terrace and white color-coated Tata Blue Scope sheeting on shed roof to reduce the heat gain. In order to avoid the soil erosion, we have done surface treatment throughout the site by means of roads, pavers, and landscaping elements, etc. Various provisions were considered in our planning for differently abled persons. Water conservation. Rainwater harvesting more than 95% of rainwater is planned to harvest with rainwater harvesting tanks and rainwater harvesting pond. In order to handle unprecedented rainfall like we had in the last rainy season, a special arrangement is done to collect the excess water and pump it to the Noy culvert. Water conservation, we have taken necessary steps to conserve the water as much as possible in the following ways. Low flow rate faucets, urinals, WCs, showers, etc. were used to conserve the water spending. Treated wastewater is planned to use in the landscape watering. ETP treated water is planned for toilet flush. Now regarding the energy conservation. The natural light is planned to be used as much as possible to reduce the artificial light usage. The PC sheet for the natural lighting is considered for about 10% of the floor area, provided in roof as well as in the elevation. The PC sheets locations are planned in such a way that both shadow and glare is minimized. This improves the working environment as well. Apart from natural lighting, we have given provision for solar panels on shed roof. LED lights and 5-star rated ACs are used to minimize energy consumption. We have used high performance glass in facade and windows to minimize the heat gain. You can see the daylight in the shed. Now material conservation. We have used PPC cement in the whole project, which contains fly ash in it. The usage of fly ash content in cement helped in additional credits for obtaining green building rating. We have planned to use the local materials as far as possible, pavers, fume pipes, precast panels for boundary wall procured from the local manufacturers. For effective solid waste management, multiple bins were provided. Quality of working environment. Low VOC paints are used everywhere as per IGBC norms. Breakout spaces, gyms, recreational areas in the admin block are considered to avoid fading in the workspace. Use of PC sheet and high performance glass already we talked about. Ridge ventilation with louvers takes care of client's requirement of 20 air changes per hour. The ridge monitor adds as an element to elevation, and importantly, it traps the hot air at top and makes the air changes happening automatically. We have used UP Twiga glass wool in the roof as thermal insulation. Now some key challenges we have faced. Since our approach is from National Highway, the norms of National Highway were to be followed. Accordingly, a 500-meter long service lane was designed and we are constructing it. Slushy soil and poor SBC, higher water table almost 1 meter below the NGL. That's a big challenge. Multiple machine foundations were to be designed for automation. Local goons and catalyzation issues is a common in UP. We had to revise working details to meet the timeline in flood-like situation, prolonged slushy soil conditions, etc. Now, differentiating aspects of the project. In this particular project, we have gone for on-site fabrication of the PEB look building. In the advantage of the on-site fabrication, we can almost save 15% of the primary members' weight by avoiding connection plates and HT bolts in the site fabrication system. There is a flexibility in working because PEB vendors require 100% of clearance prior to the start of fabrication. On-site fabrication helps in attaining greater flexibility of work. In case of PEB, every vendor has their own fabrication standards. In case of future expansion, there are chances that the owner may have to approach the same PEB vendor only with on-site. With on-site fabrication, there are no such constraints during future expansion. Utilities can be planned and installed accordingly to the requirement, and strengthening can be locally done. Some challenges again we face in this. We have to assure the quality of welding through dye penetration test and ultrasonic waves testing at site. For quality of materials, we depend on MTC, and it will be checked at regular intervals. And we have to get the local testing done at regular intervals. In order to ensure the long member transformation from one bay to another bay, the gantry is designed for 18-meter long. Since the sheeting works has to be done to cover the shed, a temporary column is placed in between for sheeting works to happen in the first phase. At the time of phase 2 works, the temporary column will be removed once for all. For resting the portal, the stub column is supported over the gantry. The 18-meter gantry was really a challenging one here with the heavy cranes. This is a cost summary. The total estimated budget was 27 crores for the construction of 1.5 lakh square feet. The overall building cost is approximately 16.5 crore at the rate of 1100 rupees a square feet for the construction of 1.5 lakh square feet. And development works like road, boundary wall, STP, way bridge, foundations, landscaping, etc. It costed almost 4.75 crores. Building services, like electrical, plumbing, firefighting works, including admin block interiors, costed us almost 5.75 crores. Our major cost reduction factors were the structural design and detailing done by ADCPL reduced the cost. The complete PEB design was done by us. Only the fabrication drawings were done by the fabricator. On-site fabrication reduced the cost of construction as explained in previous slide. The double ridge roof resulted the overall cost saving. Again, BIM. We have used BIM to design the building as discussed in the previous slide. The building modeling is done in Revit software along with the services predominantly to detect the clashes in services, routing and structure. Green building, with the design being done considering several sustainable design factors listed by IGBC, OMAX has planned to obtain green building certificate for this project. Documentation getting approval will be done through our channel partner, Godrej and Bice. And lastly, we would like to cover the fire tank at the ground level. Normally, we see the underground tanks are always below the ground. Now, in this particular case, because of the soil, underground water table is very high. The water pressure is very high. We have designed the tanks partly below and partly above, so that we could avoid the extra piles happening there. And vehicular simulation in order to optimize the road width, turning and radius, to ensure the smooth traffic flow. Vehicle simulation software was used in designing roads and green belts around the shed. We would like to see a small video. You can see the way bridge. You can see the pedestrian walkway, a zebra crossing, defined man movements. The stop parking. The toilet blocks are outside the highway area. These are the toilet blocks. These are some truck parking and some and all the utilities are placed near the boundary. So there is a gap between the main building and the utility building. Again, the toilet blocks on the other side.
Congratulations, Mr. Murthy, for a wonderful project done. And I'm sure the viewers and the listeners must have noted down all the points that you mentioned about, how to convert an industrial complex into a green rated structure.
Thank you.
So it was great to have you here on this webinar this evening. And I'm sure there'll be some questions for you as well.
Yeah.
So let us go quickly to the question and answers. The first one being that if you are composite deck sheet, kindly provide brochure or contact. I believe this is a question to Mr. Pingle. Hello.
Mr. Pingle, you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sir, yeah, you are saying some composite, I believe Mr. Murthy or they are the right people instead of.
Okay, Srinivasan sir is he around?
So I request all the speakers to, hello, can I request all the speakers to please keep your camera on and unmute yourself? Thank you.
Sir, there is a question about the composite deck.
Yeah.
The question says, if you have a composite deck sheet, kindly provide brochure or contact details. I mean, they have given you an email ID of theirs. So this is from Mahalingam, the person who has asked the question.
Mr. Mahalingam, I will give you my mobile number. You kindly call me on Monday. I'll give you the details. My mobile number is 98400-21676. It is basically consisting of proper building of studs on the deck sheet and providing a designed concrete thickness so that a composite action is available. And you can go one step further, connecting the steelwork also to concrete deck. So the steelwork, the top slab of the steelwork acts as a compression flange and reducing the compression flange width of the steel beam so that it becomes a concrete slab, doubly acting as a flexural member to span between the steel beams and acting together with the steel beam, providing the additional composite action. The neutral axis will move upwards. With the result, the tensile steel will be more effective. This is basically the principle. Kindly contact me, Mr. Mahalingam, over my mobile phone. I will come back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivasan. This was a very elaborate and apt answer to the question. There is another question from Tushar Dastane which says, please do share views on solar heat gain with respect to roofing assembly and various options to mitigate the heat ingress. I believe Mr. Pingle should be able to answer this question.
Yeah. Actually, heat gain inside the building is subjected to, you can have the different combinations. You can use either of glass wool, rock wool, or there are some other materials also available. It's bubble insulations are also part of it. So people are going for different combinations. And if you talk about 50 mm glass wool or rock wool, you will get less heat inside the building around. If you talk about 50 mm, the 7 to 8 degree reductions you will be getting out of that. Yeah, I believe this answer the questions.
Yeah, sure. The next question is about the span. Lakshmikant Saxena is asking why 7.5 meter span is taken. Anyone of Mr. Murthy or Srinivasan can answer.
Normally for the industrial building, 7.5 meter to 10 meter spans are considered. For a very heavy duty cranes, go for 7.5 meters. Otherwise, we prefer to go for 9 to 10 meter span nowadays because we get the ready-made purlins. Earlier, we used to get only the tubular purlins. Now we get the Z purlins. With the Z purlins, the flexibility is there. We can go up to 10, 12 meter easily. That will give the more economical and easier construction.
Okay, any other viewpoints, sir?
In warehousing operation, the rack spacing decides the column spacing. You must be able to assemble the racks efficiently within the column spacing. When you say 7.5 meters, we are there. The rack people or the warehousing people are not really concerned with 7.5. They are concerned with the clear space available in between the flanges or in between the webs, so that our racks can be very conveniently assembled. Maximum number of racks can be positioned, and they are getting paid by the racks. So they would like to add one more rack, means lifelong income. What is decided is what is going inside the building is what is deciding the span, the spacing, the height, the slope, and everything else.
Great, great. This is an absolutely perfect answer.
Deshmukh sir, I want to one more point in this.
Yeah.
While deciding the grid spacing, normally these columns are placed only the external grids, this 7.5, 8 or 9 meter. Nowadays, everyone wants the largest span inside. We skip the columns. We go for the jack beams, and we skip 2 columns at least in between. We go for 24 meter, 22 meter span in between. And that too in warehousing, people go for a typical 8.4 meter span to take care of the 2 docks in one grid. So each dock is approximately 4.2 meter, but they could see that that's more ideal one. So 8.4 meter, they go for the grids in the external phase in the warehousing.
Fine, fine. Thank you. Now the next question by Vardha Raju is, they say that as said, solar panel will be placed over the roof of the industrial shade. For this, do we need to take live load as 75 kgs per square meter or 150 kgs per square meter? Since the roof is accessible for placing solar panel, this load is having an impact on design. Please advise. Sir.
Let me answer that, please.
Yeah.
Solar panels, normally, I can see Mr. Murthy smiling.
Yeah.
So, the solar panels normally, Mr. Murthy, would you like to answer it? I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to steal thunder. Please go ahead.
Please go ahead, sir.
See, solar panels normally cost weigh something like about 20 kg per square meter. Now, the minute you place solar panel, the usable or walkable area automatically gets reduced. That is why I went on to say earlier that we should look for a totally different loading standards, different steel standards for light engineering building. And I would, if you see, for example, MBMA, they talk of only about 50 kg or 55 kg against 75 kg. So I would say that we should concentrate. And unfortunately, if you take anything less than 75 kg, you will not get approval. You will not be able to give a stability certificate that the building is conform to Indian standards. So we are in a catch-22 situation where you provide for 50 kg and then you don't have to have, you cannot afford to go for a reduced load. So we have to look at the root cause and attack the basic problem to arrive at a much lower live load. And on top of that, we are multiplying that live load by a load factor, adding insult to injury.
Anything else, Mr. Murthy, you want to add?
Yeah, he has covered almost all the points.
I'm scared of your smile, Mr. Murthy.
The moment there's a very fact that the moment we put the solar panel, there's a hardly any space to walk around, or only as a few servicemen can go around the panels.
Yeah, now the next question is about the code. Mr. Izaz Khan wants to ask, is there any code which specify the thickness of, that is TCT, for various industries such as ethanol plant, sugar, warehouse, steel, cement industries? Please clarify. So he wants to know, is there any separate code for different kinds of industries?
IS 800 is called a mother code.
Yeah.
IS 800 is called a mother code and it is supplemented by National Building Code. There was an attempt to make a heavy engineering code, but that did not go through. As of now, we have only IS 800 for the steel, the separate code for cold form sections, and there's going to be a code for composite sections.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Murthy?
It's fine, sir. It's fine, sir.
Yeah, the next question is why the use of steel frames is there only in the industrial buildings? Why the use of steel frame for other than industrial building is less than minimum?
The main reason is in the steel industrial building, they are looking for a larger spans. Even in auditorium nowadays, yeah, even in sports complex. Now we are going for more steel buildings now, because wherever their larger spans are required, steel is the option.
Let me add, even in multi-story buildings, multi-story car parks, because speed of construction, standardization of construction, people are going for steel beam. The steel frame structure is giving a good run for its money to other forms of construction. As far as customer is concerned, this is another point I made in the Chennai seminar. As far as the customer is concerned, he is least concerned whether you go for concrete or precast construction or in situ construction. He is governed by the cost and time and quality. And except for cost, in both in quality and the time, the steel beats all other forms of construction hands down. My only difficulty in steel frame is like what I mentioned is fireproofing. Now fireproofing takes away a good amount of cost. So when I mentioned the importance of fireproofing and cost-effective fireproofing solution, this is what is big. That's the main background in which I made that comment.
Okay, that's good. Now, somebody wants to know what is the difference between a roof monitor and a turbo fan, and which is the best solution for a PEB structure of, let's say, 1.5 lakh square feet warehouse, FMCG. Mr. Murthy, would you like to try on this?
Yeah.
I'll repeat the question. They want to know the difference between a roof monitor and a turbo fan, which is the best solution. That is what they are asking as far as the PEB structure for, let's say, 1.5 lakh square feet warehouse.
The turbo fans, they work in the principles of their differential pressures. It rotates in both directions. Whereas the monitor, it is a natural ventilating system, and it is a much better, and although it is a very old type of ventilating system, but still it is even today it is proven to be more ideal one.
Let me say, the monitor system and the turbo vent both suffer from potential leakage and spray of water. Now, that is where the real trouble comes with turbo ventilator. A turbo ventilator with please permit me to say, it is it looks very good, like the South Indian ladies wearing the Kanjivaram silk saree. Other than that, it doesn't do very much, except show off their husband's wealth. It doesn't show off anything else. Monitor is a fit and forget situation. You have this thing, you can protect it against roof spray. You can also take advantage, get some amount of natural light inside. So for multiple use, because at the end of the day, we get multiple usage, the overhanging monitor is a preferred arrangement. Now, monitor itself comes in several other forms, like, steel foundries have a different roofing monitor system. The glass manufacturers have a different monitoring system. That's a different issue. Maybe I gave my number. Somebody wants to contact me, you can contact me. I'll give you the contacts.
Thank you. That was a very apt answer. And the example given of a South Indian lady was fantastic. Anyway, now somebody says that which is the grade and steel used for concrete floor. Now in industries, concrete floor is a very critical one, and this guy wants to know about it. What is the grade of steel that you use for the concrete floor, and if you want to talk about the type of floor?
I think we are in steel industry. We should give a bad mark for concrete questions. You make a penalty on him.
Oh, yeah, right.
No.
Another question coming from Rakesh Singhania. What was the logic of providing toilet block placed outside of the main building? This toilet block is to service whom? That is a question to Mr. Murthy, because you put these blocks outside the building.
Blocks are outside the building. That entry is from inside the shed only.
Right.
We don't want to waste the high bay roof, which is quite costly shed, and we have to again cover with almost slab. it makes no sense.
Right, absolutely right. So we move on to the next. Next is thanks for a wonderful presentation by Dr. Srinivasan, Mr. Pingle, Tata BlueScope, and Mr. Murthy. But he's tempted to ask question, Mr. Ram Gopal, what is the fee charge, percentage or per square feet for comprehensive services rendered? I do not know whether it is a part of this webinar we should be talking about, but you can share these figures to him, I think later sometime in a confidential talk. From selection of site, architectural, structural design, interior design, and landscape. Mr. Ram Gopal, I would advise you to get in touch with both of them and probably then conclude on your on the answer of your question.
Absolutely right. Absolutely correct answer.
Thanks to SSMB for giving us such enquiries.
Sir, while steel is one of the most significant and versatile material widely used in steel, how does PEB stand against space frame design philosophy? It is quite lighter vis-a-vis PEB. Does it have a codal validation? This is a question from Anil Singh.
Mr. Anil Singh is a good friend of mine.
Okay.
That's it.
Mr. Anil Singh, space frame, there's a new code coming in for space frame. You will get it in maybe next year.
Which column grid you will prefer for high-rise buildings, Murthy sir? Span in between the column, which will work effectively and why? So question to Mr. Murthy from Mayor.
High-rise building, they are talking about steel or RCC now. The question is not very clear. So whatever the thing now, high-rise building, normally we have to go for between 8 to 9 meters so that the car parking can be considered and the economy is achieved. Because now the car parking is a major issue. Now we go for 3 to 6 basements. Column spacing is very important there.
Let me answer this question. Let me give you. You see, multi-storied buildings necessarily have to have car park. Now these car parks are normally located in the basement. Now, for parking 2 cars with the doors open, if you see the various IT buildings, they look for a spacing of about 10.2 meters. Very peculiar, but that accounts for 1 large car and 1 small car side by side. So that again, the column spacing is decided by the end use. What is most efficient way of pushing an elephant into an earthen pot? That is what decides the size of the opening of the earthen pot.
Yeah, thank you. Now the next question from Chetan Somani is, can you suggest a material for external walls for a hospital building if we want to opt for steel structure, and problems involved and solutions? Do we have answers?
You can go for high pressure laminates over the steel structure.
Mm-hmm.
My experience in hospital buildings with the steel building, with a steel frame, is that fireproofing will kill the project.
Right.
Because you cannot escape fireproofing of the steel work in a hospital, because the occupants cannot be evacuated like any other building.
That's true.
Merely emergency staircase or ramps will not work. We must have adequate number of bed ramps and adequate number of people still available to wheel the bed ramps out of the building. It'll kill him, and rather it'll kill the project.
Yes, right, sir. Now we come to the 2 last questions. Number 1 is, what is the standard fire rating of a PEB building or a PEB structure, and how can one achieve 2 hours fire rating on a PEB? Yes, Mr. Murthy.
2 hours fire rating, we now.
Or Mr. Pingle wants to try this?
No, Murthy sir, you can
Okay,
answer
okay,
this.
Mr. Murthy, go ahead.
We go for a low VOC paint that takes care of the fire rating requirements.
Anything you want to add, doctor?
Sir, for a steel building, fire, the real problem is as the temperature rises, steel loses its strength. Therefore, buckling of the column takes place. The columns become a long column in case of a fire, and when the stresses come down, then the column buckles. Buckling, as you know, is sudden phenomena. It is it's not like a flexural failure. So what happens is it's nearly impossible to get 2 hours fire rating without some form of treatment to steelwork.
Okay, that's a very lovely answer. What is the right solution for water tightness in PEB buildings when we are opening in roof for turbo vents and utility? I think, doctor, you explained that too. And the advice is to avoid the turbo ventilators on the roof as far as possible.
Yes,
Am I right?
you are absolutely right.
So it was nice going through the question answer session, and I thank each one of you, including Mr. Pingle, Mr. Murthy, and of course Dr. Srinivasan, for giving those beautiful answers, which will become academic data for all the beginners or all the new entrants into the steel industry. But I'm sure that steel is becoming popular day by day, and such webinars conducted by the organizers here by the MX Business Media are really worth for all those people who want to get into the steel industry. And I'm sure this will fetch more and more engineering challenges, and we will be able to become much more smarter. And thanks, Mr. Pingle, for really throwing light on the fact that most of the buildings that we design, like the one which Mr. Murthy has done, stands for the IGBC high standards and probably gets a platinum rating as well. Thank you, everyone, and over to the master of ceremony.
Thank you, sir.
Let me congratulate Mr. Deshmukh for wonderful moderation.
Oh, thank you, doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Deshmukh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, over to Avneet.
Thank you, Prashantji. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Srinivasan. Thank you, Mr. Murthy, Mr. Mahendra Pingle. It was a fantastic discussion, I must say. And I think we were able to address all the questions that have been, that has been asked by the audience. Thank you all of us for joining us today. And if you still have any query or if you want to view this this discussion again, it is available on the YouTube channel on SCS TV. So you can go and view. And still, if you have any other questions which you feel maybe you want to ask any of the panelists, please drop your email at edit@mxbm.in. So we'll be glad to assist you and help you to get your answers. Over to you, Carol or Andrea.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be writing the email ID which you can write your feedback to, that is edit@mxbm in the chat box. And also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. The link also will be available in the chat box. Thank you everyone for a wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great having you.
Thank you.